It's the music business. This isn't just the music hobby. This isn't just, I like music. Why are we not helping people understand the business?
Patrice Peris is a singer, songwriter, and vocal coach who spent over 15 years developing artists. A successful artist herself, Patrice's music has been featured on Netflix, HBO Max, USA Networks, and shows including Temptation Island, The Voice, and Hollywood House Lift with Jeff Lewis.
I just want to create the music, and once I create the music, I'm going to put out the EP. And I'm like, okay, great, but what do you want people to do? And then when you put that out, you expect for it to magically just go viral. He said, it doesn't work that way.
Through her copyrighted Learn to Sing Like the Pros program, Patrice goes beyond vocal technique. She teaches the business skills independent artists need to book gigs, build a brand, and turn their passion into a sustainable career. By the end of this conversation, you'll understand the real differences between classical and contemporary vocal technique, why emotional delivery matters much more than pitch perfection, the business fundamentals every independent artist needs, and how simply daily habits lead to breakthrough vocal results. Stick around. I'm Bobby Owsinski, and this is the Inner Circle podcast. One of the things I noticed is you seem to approach things differently.
Okay.
And there were some questions I saw that you'd sent, some topics, and things like finding your sound and turning practice into performances. Yeah. And I've never heard anyone approach things like that before. So how did you come up with that?
Okay, I guess, well, it all starts because I was a performer myself. I didn't walk into teaching. Like for me, when I got approached to teach or to coach, I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And it was because I was like, I'm an artist first and foremost. So I think everything that I kind of do with my own artist is coming from my own experience and also kind of what I wish I had. Like I found that mentorship when I started my solo career. But along the way, I mean, I went to all through my high school, I was in musical theater. I ended up by going to college for music. It was classical. And again, all of it's just my own accumulation of what would I want from someone to help me if I wanted to do this. And I always feel like my life story is stuff that I didn't want to happen, but happened and then led me to the next best thing. If that makes sense. So like I went to school, and in high school, I didn't get any kind of roles, right? And then my senior year, I landed a role. A new music director came in, and it was a pivotal point in my life where I was like, what am I going to do? And they were like, you should go to school for it. And I was like, great, I'm going to go to school for it. But I had no concept. You can study classical. You can study contemporary, musical theater. They're different. And so I just knew, oh, I want to sing. But I was trying to sing Celine Dion. And they were like, no, I need you to sing this aria. And so after about a year and a half, I was like, well, this isn't kind of for me. My best friend at the time at UMass Amherst, I was like, well, let me go there. And I don't know. I just kind of was like, I don't know if I want to do the music thing. So I ended up in theater. And so it was a good experience socially. But like, I guess for me too, I was like, when I left there, I didn't know what to do. I was left in a like limbo of I did lighting classes and stage, how to light the stage or how to do monologues. But did anyone teach me how to audition, where to find auditions? I kind of walked out going, what's next? And so when you ask, why do I do what I do or approach it how I approach it, it really stems from being passionate about leaving people in a better position earlier on than I was. Or just, I'll laugh with people. You see The Wizard of Oz and it's like the curtain gets opened and there's the wizard. I'm like, I want to be the one opening the curtain. This doesn't need to be gate kept. And also, I just am like, what's your goals? I thrive off of like, what's your goals? And like, how do we make that happen? So if someone wants to do this, they, as a profession, be it as a hobby, side gig, or their career, well, there's certain things you need to know outside of the voice. The voice is a huge aspect, but it's not the only thing. I'll tell my art, like, what is the actual definition of a performer? It's one who entertains. So when you look at that, that is beyond your voice. That's every aspect of your show. So they need to know that, because if they don't, And I know that's their goal to do this. I feel a sense of responsibility to be able to help them.
It's funny you should mention they didn't teach you how to get auditions or think about that. And it's one of the things that I find the downfalls of music programs everywhere, is that they'll teach you the technique and the technical parts of it, but never the practical business parts. And let's face it, you can't do one without the other.
It's the music business. This isn't just the music hobby. This isn't just I like music. It's called the music business. And, like Taylor Swift, don't like Taylor Swift, anyone high up there, I would say she's a great brand model. Like, you have to know business. So I stress that with my artist. If you have to, as an independent artist, which most of us are, up until a certain point, and even then, I don't even know the rise of, do it yourself is like, or independence is with social media, all the rage, which rightfully so, but it also puts on the responsibility of so many hats that you have to wear. You're no longer, signing away a contract that's going to have a team of people necessarily. You can build that, but that's going to take on booking gigs or get your press or, set up different coaches for different areas of different things there. But I know, I find so many times that that's my pain is like, why are we not helping people understand the business? Because if you do not understand the business, I find many people just fall to the sidelines. The greatest talent, you know this too, like the greatest talent is not out there. Many people are like, oh, I'm better. And it's like, well, then you're better. But, I've had an artist, I think of so many stories and like, I've been teaching now 15 years, right? And not only from my accumulation in the industry as an artist, but now this huge, I always call it like a huge case study in the best kind of way so I can pass forward to send, troubleshoot more efficiently. But I'll see all these different things. I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember a kid, many times it's happened. I just want to create the music. And once I create the music, I'm going to put out the EP. And I'm like, okay, great. But because they don't have much to kind of start to promote. So they think. And I'm like, well, okay, great. Let's just take that. What do you want people to do? Well, I want people to listen to my songs. It's oh, great. Yeah, that makes sense. That's why you're investing money into it, time, energy. But you want to just wait to do any kind of promotion, to do any kind of outreach, to start to reach any fans. And then when you put that out, you expect on these platforms where millions of uploads are happening every day for it to magically just go viral. He said, it doesn't work that way. So I try and get them to think too, like, not trying to be mean or like not allow you to do your own process with this. But I think sometimes I'm always saying, put yourself in the shoes when I talk to my artists about booking gigs. They're like, Patrice, when can I book gigs? I'm like, you have no website. You have no social presence. You have no professional photos. Where's your bio? You can start, you don't need to have all of this major stuff. But you need, if I'm someone, I'm bouncing a little bit all over the place, but it's just the different things that come up. And again, back to the core question of why do I do what I do? I think it's just my own pain and just wanting people to know. But think about if you're a booking agent and you're getting this email from someone and they're saying, I want to perform at your place. And then you even maybe are asking for money. It's like, well, what do you expect them to do? What's the first thing you do? I would look online. Oh, are there reviews? Oh, well, let me do a search. We're in the search world, right? AI can pop so many things out. So if you have no web presence, how are you expecting? Because I think we, as creators, love and are so connected and passionate about our art and our music and our creations. And rightfully so, you should be. That's a funny story. I don't know if that would come, my friend had asked me, oh, so-and-so came out with it was like a famous person, came out with a new album. And they're like, this is the best one yet. And they said it about the last one. I'm like, well, yeah, they're not going to sit there and say, this is some part of the last one, it is your best. You just keep elevating.
Have you ever noticed that mixing vocals is often the hardest part of getting a track to sound right? You boost, you compress, you add effects, and it still doesn't feel professional. So, to make it easier, I put together a simple mini course on vocal mixing that walks you through the exact steps to get the vocals sounding clear and upfront. If you're interested, scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the show notes. Now, back to today's conversation. Here's a question I've always wondered about, and not being a professional singer like you,
Yeah.
and especially having so much a breadth of experience. So I know there's a difference between contemporary singing and musical theater.
Yes.
There's definitely a difference. What is it exactly?
So I've studied some classical, but I don't, when people ask me, I said, I'm a musical theater and contemporary coach. And I'm not going to dive into that realm because it's just in its own kind of field. Musical theater and contemporary, technically at the core of like breathing, there's your mouth shape, there's different things. How does the anatomy of the voice work, right? That is the same. There's a lot of things that are similar with it. The nuance stuff. So if you think about, I can always tell, I actually just did a video on this because I was like, this is like a pet peeve of mine. And I'm never like angry at anyone. It's just, I want people to know. So like someone was doing Sia, right? And it's like, they were doing Chandelier and they're like, and they're doing that. And I'm like, is that part, I'm gonna scream, they're doing that. And I'm like, that's not emotionally how you do that. That's more belt. So like, you're on, you want that kind of power there. And I think what happens, it's not like we don't use the belt voice for both of those realms. But I think I'll say a lot of my artists who come to me who have classical background, who want to morph into even more contemporary musical theater, because let's face it, like I've been saying this for a while now, all the newest productions are morphing into that. So not to go over to answer your question, there's nuance stuff. It's how you deliver. You shout it out. If someone's doing that, very pretty, but you shout it out. But I almost feel like there's this embellishment stuff sliding off of notes, a breathy voice, this little grit that happens that it calls for, if you're covering songs in particular, we'll get to it. I really feel like people should be covering songs and make it their own. But needless to say, when we are starting as vocalists, we're learning. And so let's learn with the framework that's in front of us. And so that's the stuff that'll have my artists start to dive into once they get past the fundamental stuff, which is your breath support and understanding what's happening, our instrument, the voice, or so those are the little things that I think are the biggest difference. Is it's how do you deliver the song, be it vocally, if something's supposed to be more of that belt, that grit, that power there, or someone's coming in a lot of musical theater people. Not all of them, I can't generalize as a whole, but I'll see if a coach is not skilled in this area of understanding the differences, they're having their artists who want to say, I want to do contemporary, but I'm listening to it and I'm like, well, you just sound like a musical theater / classical singer trying to sing Sia or, Lady Gaga. And it's like, I think the listener can kind of go, oh, that's pretty, but like, it doesn't always hit,
Yeah.
So I think that's the bigger thing we need to know is what's the nuanced stuff.
I don't want to go down this rabbit hole too deeply because it's too easy to do actually. But one of the things about AI and AI voices which makes me crazy is the fact that it's too perfect. And a friend of mine just wrote a book going very, very deep into vocal production. So much so that he analyzed a lot of great singers, and what he found that a lot of them are not great from the standpoint that every note is perfect. It's the beginning and the end, and maybe it's a little pitchy in between, but it doesn't matter because that's their character.
You know what? It's such a toy. I have my artist all the time. I'm like, listen to live vocals, not record, like performances on YouTube, right? Because the reality is in production, you make it pitch perfect. That's not the reality of live singing. If we're 90 to 95% there, like kudos. I mean, we don't want to be a hot mess, right? Like the reality is to me, performing and singing is at the top of the tier of it all. Where do we want to hit? Is we want to be able to give emotional performances. We really want to communicate that song. So think about it this way. If you're a hot mess and you can't, and our basic thing as singers is to be hitting notes, right? I mean, that's our main goal. We want to be singing the songs and hitting the notes. But on top of that, if you're not kind of putting that emotional into it, it doesn't really communicate to an audience. That's what the greats do. And so to me, there's two different things we're trying to do in this world is so many artists, I'm trying to work with them with the physical stuff and the mental. And part of the mental is like, no, a production that's on the radio is perfect. That's not reality. So let's get your voice to the best that it can be. Let's not be a hot mess all over the place because the audience, you can hear them, you're all over. It's like, okay, that's all right. But you know what? If you're overall there, I love Adele. Like Adele's like a like emotion on fire. And there's a great interview where she talks about this on the Ellen show. I've like done a reaction to it. And I was like, yes, thank you. She's like, I'm a little pitchy. I'm emotional. And it's like, I love showing my artist. And if you really micro, like slow down the recording and listen to what is perfection. Like, so we want to have enough goods as vocalists to communicate a song. And you know what? That can vary. I mean, we look at Taylor Swift in the beginning. You're on the phone. It's like, it's like staying in this range here. But they built a brand, they built a show. She had a good demographic that she was reaching. So I mention that because I always want to know, like, what do you want to do with this? Who's your vocal inspiration? Because if your vocal inspiration is Lady Gaga, Beyonce, Adele, well, your capabilities need to match that so far as your anatomy allows you, right? Like, there's certain constraints, and the comparison game will kill someone. So we need to, I like to throw reality with also like really not destroying anything. I don't think we need to go that route or be mean about it, but you only need so much. So, to that point there, live singing, it's like we have to just be real. Alicia Keys at the last Super Bowl, she cracked, right? And everyone was a big to-do about it. And I'm like, okay, you guys are killing me because you're sitting here as an internet. You're like, I want live vocals. And this one here is using backup vocals. And it's like, I want the live. And I was like, well, you know what? Cracking happens. So like that stuff happens and it's how you recover. I'll tell my artists a lot with the performing stuff. I'm like, you know what? To me, the biggest difference between a professional and a pro knows how to cover their tracks. I just gave an assignment yesterday. I'm like, I need you to go write out, if you forget lyrics, what you're going to do. Are you going to throw that microphone out? Are you going to sit there in the moment? Like, I tell them I've like fallen off stage twice. Did I stop? No. I picked the microphone up and just kept going. Like, I think we put so much pressure for this idea of perfection or what we hear on a radio. And it's like, stop doing it to yourself because you're going to just stay in that realm of self-sabotage. So let's just be real about it.
I saw something about how you show people, singers, your clients, how simple habits can lead to better singing. So can you describe that a little?
Warming up, right? Warming up. And I have to have my own kind of aha moment with that, right? So I'm like, fairness. Was I one of those that was like, yeah, I warmed up with doing an easy song? Yeah. But for me, actually, the irony is when I started to teach and I had to help people with doing the warm-ups and I saw repetition, I'm like, oh, wait a second here. I'm getting better. I thought it was going to take away from me. And I'm like, wait, no, I'm doing better. And so what I try and instill with them is don't just take my word for it, do it. Because the consistency is what leads to the result. And I think people come fired up, ready to go, and everyone wants to get to the good stuff, right? Like a producer,
they want it fast.
They want it fast, and that's not how it works. I'm not saying you have to stall or things are going to take you have to go through all the pain, but like it's a consistency game. So if you can think about, I also say with like warm-ups, right? It's a predictable pattern. For me, it's like you start with the lower. you're going to your head voice or you're going to your belt. And it's like these micro, right? So and it's like, we'll do me, my, mo, whatever it may be. You're taking nonsensical words or just a word, and you're putting the muscle memory and the habit behind that. Whereas a song, you're going low, high, and everywhere in between. So if you're trying to understand, for me, it's about placement where the sound is going. And I work with my artists. I want the nice forward placement. This is going to have the best clarity and sound, right? And how we do that, I don't know if there's time, but it's like nice and forward here. So if I want to get the muscle memory behind that, and I know saying that, like I'll say really quick, like with singers, there's like 4 types of singers. You have like a throaty singer. We don't want that. Like, no. Quiet singer, hi. They're kind of holding the sound here. And oh, baby, right? Think a little Britney on that. And then, hi. Nice and forward, right? So this is the goal. And we want the muscle memory, which is doing something, thinking about it. Initially, I would say think about like as babies, right? Eating is a process, and you're really thinking about how to do that, and you're a hot mess doing it, right? But like you do it enough, now people are like, you eat, we're doing that task without thinking that it took us a while to kind of get that down properly for most. My son has a little work on it, but he's older. I'm like, how are you doing? Did we not go over that? Anyways, so with the warm-ups, with the repetition and those things there, that's the results. That's the magic. And it's not the fun part, typically. It's like the emailing for gigs. It's like the admin. It is all that stuff. I say just try and make a game of it. And if people, and I see an artist who can like dig into and I've seen it over and over where I've been like, okay, just do me a huge favor. Someone's struggling. Anytime someone's like, I feel like I'm not getting things, my number one question is, what's your warm up? Well, I sing an easy song and then I go into it and I'm like, what happened to the scales? What happened to your breathing? I showed him too. I found Ariana Grande's vocal coach, right? It happened to my For You page, because it would be. And there was this guy. I was like, oh, let me see, right? Why would you not? That's another like tip I like to give to people. Like if multiple people in an area have success and they're saying the same thing, don't say, oh, I already know that. Lean into that. Wait a second here. That's a little gem that I should make sure. So anyways, I watched it and I'm like, thank you. He's like, oh, I've worked with Ariana since she was 13. And I love showing my artist this. And he's like, and every time now she's in her 30s, right? We start with breathing. And I'm like, thank you. Because I feel like a parent to them all the time where they're like, yeah, you're just saying this. And I'm like, no, if you like, we can't dispute. She has great vocal talent. So like, there you go, my friends. This has been going on for decades and she's still doing it. So yeah, that's where I come from is don't take my word for it, do it. And I've seen over and over, the second people start to implement that, I'm like, what do you do? See, your vocals are coming along. So
the other thing that I really liked from you was finding your sound.
Yes.
And to me, there are too many people, and this is, it doesn't matter what kind of music you're doing or what instrument you're playing or singing. It's people trying to be like someone else and not finding their sound.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's not necessary or worthy, imitating someone, finding your influence, but nonetheless, at a certain point, you have to graduate from that.
Yeah, it's a process, right? It's a stepping stone. It's learning on a gradient. That's really also for me super important. Someone who's trying to do riffs runs or something, but can't even breathe properly or, isn't understanding how the voice works and, taking tension off and things like that. It's just like they're going to check out of this game and be like, I can't do it. Where it's like, it's a process. We don't need, I love Ed Sheeran, right? Like we don't need another Ed Sheeran. I love Lady Gaga. Like we don't need them. Authenticity is the most powerful thing. That's what people respond to, not imitation. Now, it's a weird toy because when we are taking covers or we're learning, we are copying. Well, what are we copying, though? This is what I try and instill. Okay, well, first we're copying their lyrics, We're copying the notes they're doing, right? We're copying the rhythm, the timing. But what we're not copying is their placement. That's your sound. So for me, that's what, if we can start to move into that, and eventually, so I have 2 levels to my program. I have a level 1, which I call the fundamentals, the building blocks. Think of, like, for anyone that's wondering, fundamentals like math, your numbers, addition, subtraction. You need that. That's what everything's built upon. Level 2 is just like, the end product of that is you can take covers if you're not writing music, which if someone wants to do this, I like to push them into that realm. But you can take songs and make them your own, right? Like Boyce Avenue? Really, like, great. Like, I love taking like covers and like making them my own. So, and I think there's a joy in that because it's no longer, I mean, if you're just trying to imitate someone, you're so confined to that there, and not, are you even really exploring your fullest potential? Or are you just trying to, so there's not your own self-expression through that. When my artists perform, I'm huge. I'm like, you got to read your lyrics. Okay, I'm like, what is this song actually about? When even be a perform or not perform, because you can't. Once we've worked out the stuff of it, because you're selling that song to the audience. You can't rely on Adele to come in and sing that through you and the emotion connection to the audience. It's like, that doesn't make sense. So you connected with that song because you emotionally felt it. But needless, so now you need to own that. And part of that is not being a cover of someone else. It's you being you. And I think the problem is it's a hard thing to be vulnerable. It can be hard, I've noticed, and I've been there, to be open to judgment, right? To be open to, if I express this or I feel or I do it this way, people are going to start to put judgment on me. If I'm someone else, now I can hide behind that. So there's a vulnerability in exposing yourself and being authentic, because now there's no one to hide behind. But it's art. So I always say, you know what, too? Like, it's subjective. When I embrace the fact that not everyone is going to like me, it was liberating. So I was like, not everyone's going to like me. It's okay. I mean, I don't like everything out there. So why would I expect the same from others? And so I think the journey of authenticity is a journey, but it's an important one because, man, when you hit that, it's like, how powerful. You're not hiding behind anything. You're okay with being vulnerable and you can help others to feel. It's like, man, that's golden. So, yeah.
I was reading your bio and I saw that you're a cancer thriver.
Heck yeah.
And I thought, wow, what a wonderful way to look at something like that.
Yeah.
And now that I've met you, I can understand why you took that approach, because you have a very positive approach.
Oh my God, good, make me tear up. There you go. Yeah, 4 years out. And I mean, I don't know. Like, to me in life, there's been so many moments, we can all have our story. And I guess, like, I was like talking to someone recently. I was like, you know what, like, anything in my life, like, if you can accumulate it and look at it as like, look at all this bad stuff that's happened, or you can look at it as like, look at all this stuff that's happened and how I've overcome it and what I've learned from it. And that's always been, when I got diagnosed with cancer, I was like, I'm not looking at like what I got diagnosed with. I looked once and I had a breakdown. I was like, forget about that. I said, I'm not looking at what my diagnosis is. I'm getting through it. You're walking through my door. It was right as COVID was ending, so I couldn't have family there. I had to be in the hospital for 5 weeks. So I got to see, my husband started to come in, but I couldn't. My family was like, I had to, what I did have was serious, so they had to like deplete me down to 0. So I had 0 immune. But for like, my nurses were rock solid. They were amazing. And I think, God like put those people in my life, but they were like so positivity. There was like, I was like, no one is coming through this door, and I don't want anyone with like a sad face, or like, if someone's like, oh, how are you doing, Patrice? I'm like, don't put me in my grave. Like, I'm like, so, but you have to approach, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure life happens. And so be it cancer, be it I have like things within there. It's like what you can confront, you can handle. Doesn't make it easy, but like you can overcome that and you can be better. But you have to, I think, have that mindset too.
Well, it seems like you have a very positive mindset to begin with, and I'm sure that helped quite a bit.
Yeah. It's a game like anything. I don't want to devalue that there were days that I was like a hot mess. So, but I try to tap myself out of it and just like, all right, get to that.
Last question, Patrice.
Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice that you've received or maybe you discovered along the way?
OMG, that's so heavy. That's like who's your favorite artist? Let's see. What would be my best piece of advice? I think authenticity. Do what you need to do to get to that point, which is an accumulation of things. That is the consistency game. That is surrounding yourself with the right team that allows you to express yourself, but also pushes you in the right direction. Don't be afraid to be you, right? Like, get to that point. That is the number one. There was something I watched and it was like asking what the highest frequency, like everything is energy. So it's like, what is the highest they were asking on? It's like, what's the highest frequency that people connect with? And my initial reaction was love. This actually probably would, and I was like, oh yeah, it's love. Like that has to be the highest frequency. And they came back and they were like, no, authenticity. And I guess that was like a moment that I was like, you know what? That is the truth. People are going to want, they want that. And I think so many times we're trying to be something that we aren't because we see that being effective or successful. I'll see that with artists, right? I see so-and-so being successful. I want to follow that path. And you can learn business elements from that. But be you.
One last thing. I kind of forgot about this and I don't want to leave without talking about it. I see that you're getting into trailer music.
Yes, I love trailer music. Oh, I love trailer music.
That's a very specific skill, and there are not many people, first of all, that are aware of it, and second of all, that are able to do that. So tell me your journey into trailer music.
So I wanted to get music. Like I had a goal. I was like, well, you know what, as an artist, and I was going along. It's like all about like, what's the next goal or what would I like to achieve? And then I also am like a mother. So I was like, well, what kind of realm can I move into that allows me to be creative, hit another target? I'm not out there performing like I was. So I started to go, well, I want to get into sync. And so I started to take a class. And that's where I was introduced to trailer music. And I was like, oh my God, this can fulfill my drama side of me. Because I just love it. You know what I love about trailer? And I learned with that too, right? There's the whole sequence. You need the 3 cuts of that. It's not just your standard song where it needs to, they need the wavelengths to be going like this and this. And I don't know, it just kind of hit me. It was like, that music, there's something, I'm just a jack of all trades in so many ways. Like so many people, I love so many different styles. I could go a little singer-songwriter, pop folky. I could go a little bit more dance. And then when I saw trailer music, I'm like, this has to be a part of what I do because it's emotionally explosive,
It has to be in order to work.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It is. It's so fun.
Yeah.
So that's just really what kind of I got introduced to it when I was in a class there. And I was like, you know what? Like this, I have to start to do some of this.
Very cool. Very cool. I have some friends that are into that. As a matter of fact, there was, I don't know if it's still there, but there's a place called Trailer Park in Los Angeles and Hollywood here. And that's all they did. They cut trailers and it was a big facility with a lot of people working there. They're like the major place. I have to figure out if they're still there or not because there's a lot of upheaval in Hollywood, obviously. So I'm curious if they're still there. But nonetheless, because of my exposure to those people, when I saw that you were doing trailer music, it just clicked in automatically. I thought I have to ask you about that.
I know. I haven't had one. I just got notice of like a TV show placement. And I've seen like some things get pitched. I almost landed like this Hulu trailer, but I haven't like landed a trailer yet. I'm still hopeful though. It's like a process like anything.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I love it.
Well,
I love it.
Yeah. Congratulations in going in that direction, and fingers crossed that you're very successful.
Yeah, it's fun. If anything, it's a good it's fun.
Thanks for listening and being in my inner circle. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, you can send them to questions@bobbyowsinski.com. You can also learn all about the latest in music, audio, and production news, and find out about openings for my latest online classes at bobbyowsinski.com. This is Bobby Owsinski. I will see you next time